So creo que ya los muchachos pueden vernos. I believe we're live again, so let us know how everything is coming back and if you can see us moving fine. What I tried to do was lower the FPS, the frame rate. So let's see if tell us if we're like lagging or let me try and open Adobe XD here. Let's see.
There's nobody yet.
Let's see. Let me know if this lags too much when I do this, when I move the canvas around. Yeah, I see the bitrate in Twitch is it's horrible right now. 2415. Yeah. Let's see. What else could we do? See what they say in the chat. Yeah. How is the quality on the last?
There is someone already in the chat, so you can hear us. Is all okay?
Yeah, let's see.
We need a feedback one
Hello,
more time before starting.
Yeah, let's see what they say.
Okay, Ricardo is telling me in private that it's all ready.
It's far better than before. Okay, Goku
let's
says yes. Yeah, yes. Now it's good. Perfect. Well, this was part of the stream. Thank you for coming. We just wanted to give you guys a little bit a harder time on our start. But thank you for coming and bearing with us through all the issues we were having. But remember, this is live and this is just part of your everyday stuff you do. So I hope coming from this point forward, everything comes smoothly and let's have a good stream.
Yes, so welcome everyone to our first session of mobile app redesign for developers. As you notice, this talk will be in English. I think this is our first not Spanish talk because we want to share also with the global xamarin community. So Pujols, introduce yourself. I'll be around in the Twitch channel collecting the questions, so go ahead.
Great. Let me come over here and switch the scene for the stream. Give me a second, everyone. If we come over here, let me know if the new scene is good. Let me go get my brief presentations. I have a few slides here just to guide myself on what we're going to be seeing today, and you can get a clear idea of what we're going to be seeing. So here, let's see. Let me know if you guys can see everything fine.
I think it would be better if you turn off your camera, because of the buffering issues.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Let me see what they're saying in the chat. Can you guys see the slides with no problem? Everything's still good?
Ricardo says that yes, we can see the presentation. Everything is okay now. It's strong and clear, sir. So
perfect.
I think we're ready.
We're ready. Thank you. Okay, so hi everyone. Welcome again to our new series in dotnetdo, which is gonna be called Mobile App Redesign for Developers. And basically here you're gonna learn how can you just take an app from a mock-up, a simple mock-up you have in your mind, and get it production ready and get it with a clean and stylish design without having to be a designer or have years of experience in designing, because there's a lot of tools and resources out there for us, and it's just reading up, using them, and you can literally create any design you like. Yes, let me continue the slides here. So, short presentation for whoever doesn't know me. I think most of you all know me already by the community, but for those of you that don't know me, my name is Luis Pujols. I'm a software engineer originally from the Dominican Republic. I currently work as a software engineer and a Xamarin mobile developer. I'm part of the Cross Geeks team. If you're part of the Xamarin community, I'm sure you know our team. Um, I'm also co-organizer of the .NET Dominicana community, which is the one where we at right now with Angel, Charlene, and Randy. I also got the certification for Xamarin mobile developers, and I also have a blog, and there are all my social medias in case you want to contact me in regards to anything Xamarin related. I'm now also working for a great company called Writer here in the States, and yeah, that's basically me. Now let's get into the topic. So what is our agenda for the live stream gonna be like? So I created a blog post recently about this work I recently did in an app called GitTrends. And let me post the blog post link here so you can also follow along on everything we're gonna be talking about today. So in this blog post, I basically give you the introduction and fundamentals to get started with creating your own design and gathering your the inspiration necessary to do everything you want with the design, and basically um, get it from the idea to something that you can actually take to your app and implement easily. So the first thing we're gonna be talking about is gonna be about Git trends. What is GitTrends? The second thing we're going to be talking about is gathering inspiration. How can we get inspiration to create the screens we want? If I want to create a list, how can I find different types of lists? What tools are there out there? Then we're going to be talking about choosing a visual language for our design. And then we're going to be defining our magic numbers. And for the last 2 points, we're gonna be seeing what tools can we use to illustrate our design and just use it as a guidance for us when we're gonna go and develop it. And the last one is, I think, the most important one, and the one that helped me the most in this task. It was basically defining a workflow and a feedback loop in which I could stay accountable and complete the work I was trying to do. Let me see the chat. Wait, let me see. I'm trying to. Okay, the slides are working. Let's see in the chat. Is everything still okay? Yep, I see that everyone is saying everything is good. So we're good to go. So before I get to talk about this topic about mobile app UI UX redesign, it will be good for us throughout this series to have a use case, right? A sample in which we can start experimenting and see the before and the after. And basically for this, I'm gonna use GitTrends. And what is GitTrends? GitTrends is basically an open source app that was created by a good friend of mine, Brandon Minnick. Let me see here. Brandon Minnick. Most of you guys know who he is. If you're part of the Xamarin community, you know that he works for Microsoft. He's one of the first members of the Xamarin team. He currently still works there as a developer advocate, and he's really crazy about everything about Xamarin. So this whole idea of GitTrends came about because he noticed that he has always had a lot of repositories in his GitHub, and he noticed that some of them, after some time, he had like basically forgotten about them. He didn't even remember he still had them in his repo. But he went into his GitHub one day and he noticed that some of those old repos were actually getting traffic, and people were actually cloning them, giving it stars, and interacting with them. And he didn't even notice. So he said, well, why can't I just create an app that can tell me, okay, which repos are getting the most traffic now and are trending again? Because maybe you had an idea that you were working on, like any project, you know. I don't know if you guys have had the experience, but you know that sometimes you're working in a side project and you just start with the great idea, you're super excited, and the first 2 3 weeks you're like, yeah, I'm gonna get this done in 2 months, and 4 weeks pass, and eventually everything gets complicated. You eventually abandon it, right? So GitTrends allows you to stay on top of on those repositories that you thought were no longer important. And once you see the traffic, you can actually go back to them and work on some issues, maybe polish the documentation, and give and work on the work that is actually important at the moment for your community. So Brandon launched the first beta of this app early this year. I think it was around March or something. And when he launched it, I was really excited about it because he contacted key persons in the community that he has always talked with, and he wanted us to give him feedback and if we liked it and if it was working okay. And the first thing I thought was, wow, this is an open source project that has been developed. Brandon has been working on this for a few years now, and he has tried to keep it like a greenfield project. So every time Xamarin launches something new, he tries to implement it in GitTrend. So at first, if you see the UI, you notice right away that okay, the app looks good, but the UI could be better, right? But we have to remember that the whole point of this app at the start for Brandon was just a, a proof of concept. He wanted to see if he could actually do the idea, and he wanted to test different technologies that were coming out, and always test out the latest features that Xamarin was launching, right? So I also recommend to do what he did. If you have a project that is mostly just to experiment and try new things in the tech, I wouldn't invest much time in the UI at first. I will focus on getting my features to work, and once I get my features to work, I can actually focus hard on creating a better UI. So when he presented it to me, he was really clear. Listen, Luis, you're gonna see the app, but don't say nothing about the UI because I literally have not worked a lot on it. Okay, so I was like, yeah, don't worry. But it was a great app. As soon as I used it, all the features were working, and it did everything it was intended to do. So I was really happy with that. And once I went to the code and I went to the repo, it was really well architected. It was a great app, and the like literally the backend was perfect. It just needed a little bit of polish in the UI UX. So as soon as I got the project, I said, okay, I would like to contribute to this project, but how can we do that? So this is something I recommend you guys to always have present. Now that you're here in this community event, make sure that when you're trying to when there's an opportunity to participate in an open source project, these are three key things that I try to look for, right? To get a basic start. So the key areas of improvement, I was like, okay, let's look at this and GitTrends where we're identifying bugs, identify and fix the bugs if you know the solution, or if you just found a bug, just create an issue and get some help from the creator to find your way around the code base and try to fix it. I could also propose new features, and lastly, which was one of the most obvious for me at the moment, was okay. I really want to propose UI UX improvement for this app, right? The only problem and like the block I found when I said okay, I want to propose changes for this is that at the moment I had a lot of mental blocks because I'm not a designer. I have never studied design. I just really like the idea of like just using a software like Adobe XD, start putting boxes around and something looks kind of decent, right? So that's all my experience up to that point. So I was like, okay, I want to propose UI UX improvements, but I actually want this app to look like a really production ready app, like made by a designer, right? So that was the challenge I imposed myself. And through imposing myself that challenge, I discovered a few key things that I needed to put in place in order to successfully create the redesign that I did. So one of those was gathering inspiration. So gathering inspiration, right? Because you may have a basic idea of maybe, let's say, okay, this is gonna be kind of interactive. So what I'm showing you here is Adobe XD, and this is basically the Adobe XD project in which I created all the UI UX proposals and how I started brainstorming with Brandon and organizing stuff.
Pujols, your video just stopped.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but everything is okay with the presentation and the
Okay.
sound.
Let's.
Just your video is freeze.
Yeah, I see it here. Let's see. Huh, that's weird. Let me see.
Yeah, but I think it's okay. You can turn off
Yeah, I
the
can. I
camera.
can just turn off the camera. That way we can continue with the presentation.
Yes.
Good. Okay, so let me see something. Oh, maybe it's clashing with the Zoom thing. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So let me see if this is moving right. Yeah. So Adobe XD is moving right for you guys. Perfect. The camera. If one of you guys. Okay. Okay, the chat is still there with us. Good. So this is the Adobe XD project I initially created. As you can see, initially, I just came and I started organizing my ideas. I say, okay, this is also the first time I was using Adobe XD. All right, so don't think I'm like an expert at Adobe XD. I'm advanced, right? Because I have been learning how to use all the tools and stuff. But I have no fear on like approaching this tool and using it. I would recommend download it right now because remember this is gonna be 5 weeks, and I want you guys to be a part of the process. So download Adobe XD. Let me send you the GitTrends GitHub repo, and I actually have this Adobe XD project, and you can open it in your computer, and you can follow along while on the stuff I'm doing, and you can also modify it and propose any changes you want. So I'm gonna send that in the chat right now. Give me a second. Let me see. Okay, so let me put it here in the chat. Yeah, Angel sent it. Yeah, Angel sent the GitTrends GitHub there, and if you press the one I sent in dotnetdo, you can find the artwork directory in the repo, and there's 4 files there. So you're gonna download the one that's called GitTrends.xd, and that's the one that is this project. So once you download it, you can open that in your Adobe XD and you can modify all the designs we have there.
Hold one last interruption.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a problem for you that you are freezed in the Twitch. In your scene, yeah, in the Twitch, you are with
Oh,
the.
yeah, I forgot to change the scene without the camera.
Yes,
Nice.
just remove that scene
Yeah,
and continue.
I updated it now. Let me know if now it's not freezed.
Yes, it's okay now.
Perfect. Okay. So the first thing I said, okay, let me take a screenshot. So this is what I recommend you guys to do. Well, it was what worked for me. I don't know. I'm not a professional, so if someone has a better idea, put it in the chat. But what I did, okay, I said, let me take a screenshot of all the screens in the app and organize them here in my Adobe XD project, right? Because I wanted to redesign the whole app. So I wanted to go screen by screen and propose UI UX changes we could do to make it look a little bit more modern and have a bit of a slicker design, right? So initially well, right now also the app has two modes. So you could either enter the app in demo mode, or you could enter the app with your with your live data of your GitHub account. So you basically log in with your GitHub, and this is the view you will see once this is the data you will see once you authenticate. You're gonna see your list of repos, and basically you're gonna get the title, the description of the repo, and you're gonna get how many stars that repo has, how many forks, how many issues, and once you press one of those, it will take you to the trend page of that repository, and basically that page would what it shows you is, let me zoom this in so you can see it well on the streaming. There it is, perfect. So the trends page basically is just a chart, right, a graph where the you can see plotted the views, the unique views, the clones, and the unique clones that that repo has currently throughout the last week. And you can see we're using an area chart, and you can see them reflected in terms of each other. And then if you press here on the top menu, we have this text which says referring sites, and as the name says it, you're gonna see the referring sites for this repository. So basically the referring sites are just sites that have direct links to to that repository. So in this case, I was looking at my Google Client repository, and you can see that in the list, my blog is one of the referrals, because I have like 2 or 3 blogs that include hyperlinks to my repo, and you can see how many unique links I have in this page, which are 60, and how many visitors I have received from that site. So you have that also as well from Nougat and Google, etc. So that's really good information to know as well, because that way you know, like when I saw my first time the referral for Xamarin forms.xamarin.com, it was really helpful because I immediately could go to a question a community member had about the plugin, and I could even answer directly to them in that forum. So that's really good info there. And then we also had this page, which is the settings page of the app at that time. And basically, this had 2 key features, which was allowing you to log in or log out from the app, right? And you could also choose a preferred, like how you wanted to look at your chart. So here, right now, the chart, you can see that it's including views and unique views and clones and unique clones, right? So you could either say, okay, I don't want to see I just want to see my unique views and my unique clones. I don't want to see the general ones because one person can enter 10 times to my repo, and I just want to see the first time he entered, okay? So here you could actually configure that, and once you set it to, like, say, just unique, when you press again in the repo, this will be updated, and you will only see like the unique values here. And that's basically, oh, and we also had this splash screen here, and this used to be the GitTrends logo, right? And yeah, that's basically what GitTrends was. And this text here, this text animates and says we have like a list with different text to simulate like the app is preparing. So yeah, that's basically what this does. So after organizing my screenshots here, I started taking one by one, right? Each page. So I will come here and I will say, okay, let me copy paste the repository one, put repository page here, and then I will create two new canvas next to it. And this is how I usually would work. I will say, okay, I have this list. Now, how could I make it better, right? But remember, I'm not a designer. So I might have good ideas, but they might not be the best ideas, okay? So for this, I found some really, really interesting sites that the community has been using for a time now, which is the following: Material Up, Behance, and Dribble. And this site is basically like a hub for designers to post all their ideas, their UI UX ideas, and their portfolio. They can get work through those sites. So there's a lot of mockups you can just go to the site and see, and you can get inspiration from. So let me open some of those sites so you can see what they look like. Material Up. Well, now they're called Up Labs, but it's the same thing. Let's go here. Let me open Dribble as well. Dribble. And Behance.com. So yeah, after you have these three sites, it's really easy to get inspiration because you literally just put, let's say, I go back to my Adobe XD project. I say, okay, now I'm working. I want inspiration to make this list a bit more beautiful, right? So I literally put, like, you don't need to complicate it. I literally put list on the search bar, and there you're gonna get a ton of mockups centered only around different proposals for how you can make lists, right? For different topics. So let's see, for example, this one. You see, this is like a list of tasks this user has, and you see how beautiful it is. It has like an icon here. They're using gradients on the background. It's like a rectangle with rounded corners. But that already gives you a good idea of something you could do, right, for this app. Let's see another list. For example, this one, maybe the list was a list of products I'm selling in a cart. See how many good ideas they have here, and all of this. So something to notice, right? When you're trying to do this UI UX redesign, since we're developers, I would recommend to always keep in mind what are the tools I have available in my tech, right? So in Xamarin, I know most of the plugins and UI components that the community has developed. So I have a good grasp of what I can do at the moment easily and what I can't do. So some designs that may look like really, let's say, yeah, because there's some designs that they did the proposal, but as soon as you see them, you know that okay, it's not that easy to implement with what we have out of the box, right? You might need to create something custom or start working with paths and shapes. And now it has gotten a lot more easier to work with paths and shapes in Xamarin, thanks to the Xamarin team. But before we know that it was not that easy, right? So I will try and look for designs that are, let me zoom in here. You see, I will look for designs that are simple to implement but look clean and attractive, right? So basically, if you see this one, there's not a lot of custom stuff I need to do. Like there's a lot, all of these components are already available in Xamarin. I just need to know how to combine them and yeah, and decorate them with the colors and everything, right? And I could get a beautiful design like this. There's this, if you see this design, a good practice is just get the design and start imagining how you will like lay it out in the SAML file. So I see this list and I imagine, okay, for my item template, I know right away that I have two labels. I have an image here and I know of a component that I can do like a circle image and I can put a border to it, and so that one is solved already. This is another label, and this I could do also custom. I could maybe create a custom page component for this, and that's it. I will have my list. It looks really minimalistic. It looks beautiful, and then I look at this here. I said, okay, I know I have a semantic control that I can use here, and I can decorate this as well. So you can look for the signs, right? But also make sure to look for them, to look for the signs that make sense and how you're gonna implement them, and try to look at them and imagine yourself implementing them, right? So Dribble, I mean, Material Up is really good. They like to they favor a bit material design on this one. But in Dribble, you have a ton of other proposals as well. I do the same. If I go to Explore, where's the search? Here. Let's search for this again here. And here you see how many awesome designs pop up. It's asking me to sign in. Why am I not signing in? Let me see. Sign in. I see Lester say, damn, the UI, yeah, those UIs you find here are really attractive, like, and once you get used to like doing UI challenges, which is something we're doing a lot in the community, it's basically the same thing. You come here, you write something in the keyword, and just start browsing the designs and take one and challenge yourself to implement it. And you'll be really surprised on on what you achieve. Like let's say this design. At first glance, I will be like, oh my god, how the heck am I gonna implement this, right? But once you start like thinking on how to implement it in Xamarin, you actually get the design the same. Like you put them side by side and you can tell which one is the app and which one is just the proposal. So that's something I really like to do as well. I like to just take a design and try and implement it. So yeah, here you can see a ton of other lists, really interesting. And Behance is also a good site for this. And let's see, list. And here you have a ton of tools as well to see more designs. So I think I made pretty clear how powerful all of those sites are. Let's not take any more time looking at these designs, because we will literally spend the whole streaming just looking at designs. Trust me, I have spent a few hours just looking at designs and having fun and seeing all the ideas people have come up with. But now that we're on Behance, I don't know if I'm saying the name right. Pardon me if I'm not. I can actually show you kind of what was the end product once I went through the process of doing all of these considerations, right? So after we gather inspiration, after we choose a visual language, after we have our magic numbers, and we learn all about that, you can start seeing the difference it made in the app. Well, I'm gonna only show you this part for now, and then once I explain the other parts, we can continue looking at the at this part. So, well, here you have a glance at the repositories design and how everything looks together. So, from we came all the way from this. Remember, being only developers to having something like this. And literally, I don't know you guys, but it looks like it came out of a dribble and someone just it's just like a mock-up. But this is actually implemented in the app now and the users have loved it. So here, continuing, let me go to the slides. Gathering inspiration. Yeah. So once we have the inspiration, right? What should we do next? Because as soon as I come to Dribble, I notice there's a bunch of different styles to make your design.
There is a question in the
Yeah.
chat,
Yeah.
Pujols. Ricardo Brito is asking, how do you create these logo rebranding images?
Oh, that's a really good question. So something you learn about when you start working with Adobe XD and with designing tools is that the icons you're working with and the assets you're working with are actually called vector images, right? And here you can see, for example, the GitTrends logo. This was one of the first things we did. Um, just picking polishing a bit more the logo and picking a color that will look sorry, okay, will look a little bit more like friendly and warming. So I really like the color teal. So the color was kind of influenced by me. It was like I did not do like a study like what does teal mean and like nothing philosophical. I just really like teal and I thought combining it, I started searching for color palettes around this and yeah, it worked out. So to do this rebranding, Brandon already had done the logo and he used this other software called Sketch. So this logo is actually not a PNG image. It's actually a vector. And what a vector image is basically you can see it as yeah, like in mathematics vectors. So it's like shapes and objects that are drawn and rendered in the screen based on a bunch of formulas for that define this vector, right? So that's why when you resize this image, you see it maintains its crisp. You see, it doesn't lose quality because this is all being rendered with math, and this is the recommended type of assets to use when you're working with mobile apps, like with icons in mobile apps and in a digital environment where you need like to scale and downscale the images. So once I had my vector, which Brandon made here, let's see if I have the project. Yeah, here. Once I have that vector, I can literally modify each part of this logo independent because everything is a shape or everything is an object. So let's say you see the like the trend line of the chart. I can literally move it on its own. I can change its color. Where is color? Yeah. I don't use Sketch that much. I use Illustrator, but give me a second. Let me find the color for this. Get. Appearance. Tint. Shadow. Okay. Color. Oh, wait. I selected the shadow. Give me a second. We want the line. Yeah. So I think this is the circle of the image. Yeah, see? So I can literally modify each part of the line because everything was made with different shapes. So this is a line, this is a circle, this is another line, and he basically just connected all the shapes and created his trending line there. And then he created, if you see this like clear spot here, that's another like circle he created, and he just put this line and the circles of the line on top of that bright spot, and it gives the effect like it's casting a shadow under it, right? So that way you can modify everything on its own, even like the letters. You see, I can just come and make this, let's say, red. Yeah, and you can basically work with that. So this using Sketch is to like really do a detailed modification of the vector. But I also have another tool that I use. Well, here in Adobe XD, since I want to give you I want to give you guys free tools with which you can work. So you can do it also here in Adobe XD. You can literally just double click the letters. You see the fill here, and you can change its color. Because remember, this is a vector. So since this is generated with formulas, if you put it in any designing tool that accept vectors, it knows how to draw it, and it knows that that you can modify each part of it individually, each object. So once Brandon created the logo here, I literally just copy pasted it and put it in a tool that I know how to use. Which was Adobe XD, or in another case, I have also Illustrator, which also is an Adobe tool to work with vector graphics. But yeah, that's basically how you rebrand the logo. You just take the vector and start changing the colors and to the colors you want, and that's basically it. Let me put this back how it was. Let's see the chat. I see, hey Danielle, how are you? Pleasure to have you. Hi Luis, thanks for the streaming. You should know that I love the UI UX team and Xamarin Form. A page I use is Sketch App Sources. Although they are sketch designs are feasible for Adobe XD. Let's see. Oh, nice. Okay, so Daniel just sent us in the chat. Just sent us this in the chat, and it looks like it's another site in which you can gather inspiration and see the designs. And if I'm not wrong by what he said, these designs have the plus. Well, Dribble also allows you to do that with some of them, and it's that you can actually download. Yeah, nice. Let's see. So yeah, you can download the design and you can open it in the tool you're using, and you can literally start just copy pasting assets and creating your own design with it, right? So let's see, a sketch, open anyway. Yeah, because that version is, I mean, that project was created with an older version, but let's see if it opens. Oh, and here it is. Nice. Yep. So those sites I provided you as well. you can search for, once you're seeing the design, search for somewhere in the UI if they allow you to download it. I know Dribble does that. People post their designs for free and you can just use them, and they probably have like a license tied to them, but there's some that are like literally free to use and you can use in your own apps. But see, everything is a vector. Even the text, I can, let me see, text, can I, maybe not. I think he converted it into vector. Let me see. No, he converted the text to vector. But if he didn't convert it, even the text I can modify and write something there. Yeah. So write that down, guys. All of those sites. I'll upload the slides so you can have a better reference to them. And also in the blog post I created, you can also have direct links to these sites. So here. So okay, that was gathering inspiration. We can use all of those sites. So I was saying, okay, once we come to the sites, we notice that there's different styles of design, right? So if we, for example, if we come, I saw, wait, I don't want to, where is it? Let me go to uploads and I can make you see the difference easier here. No, I don't not want premium. Okay. Platforms. Give me a second. Let me do it in Dribble then. List. Where are the filters? Console. Mobile. Filters. Tags. Yeah. So you can put here like Android. Yeah. So if you filter by like Android, you're gonna notice right away that most of the designs follow a similar style, right? Similar visual style. All the Android apps look have kind of the same vibe, right? And if we go and put here iOS, you're also gonna notice that they have like their own style and design. Like, look at the buttons in iOS. You see how they go full width and like they're rounded here. The icons are kind of different. The UI components as well. So right away we notice, okay, this is kind of overwhelming because now I don't know which one I prefer. That's personal. That's gonna be a personal decision for you guys. I have always been an Android lover, so I really love material design, which is the visual language. The visual language that Google has created, and it's the one that they support in their apps, right? So we can come here to material design, to the material design website. And this is a great resource you can also use to learn how to make, what are the guidelines there are to make a design, like a design look like an Android design, right? Like follow the Android guideline. And here they have like the whole menu, and you could literally have spend like a whole month just reading all the best practices and tips they give you. And they talk about layout, environment. So basically the layout, if we wanted to know how we can like create a grid, and how what should be the spacing between the columns. And let's see, you see, it tells you also like, okay, you're gonna have 4 cards, you should be separating this with this amount of space. It talks to you about what are the recommended margins for your pages, which are like 16 dp in each side. And this one, since they're doing a grid, they say, okay, you should use 24 density independent pixels, and that will make your design look really polished. So, and they put you a lot of gifs as well. So this is a really friendly guideline, and it's made by their best designers, and it's really, or it's always maintained by the company. So just as you use documentation to create your Xamarin app and figure out how to do something in the backend, now you know that you to create a design, you also have a great source of documentation by which you can guide, right? And you are not alone in this. You can just literally, okay, I want to make a navigation. Let me go to the navigation section in material design, and let me see what they recommend in terms of how I should be handling my navigation depending on the type of navigation I'm doing. So here you can see the recommendations for navigation drawers and bottom navigation bars. Yeah, every type of navigation they cover, and they even have like more specialized articles in which you can like deep dive and create the each of those components with their guidelines, and they tells you like do and what to have caution with. Let me see. So in this example, yeah. So this example, they're basically saying, okay, if you're making a navigation drawer, right? Be caution on mixing the navigate on mixing this type of navigation with another type of navigation, because a navigation drawer should be basically a master detail navigation type, right? So if I'm using uh, this menu is supposed to represent the whole navigation throughout the app, like the main entry points, right? So it wouldn't be wise to also have like a tab navigation on the bottom, plus the navigation drawer, because it will confuse the user basically. You're saying that
Pujols, I have a question
yeah,
in this order. What's your take on applications that have these mixed layouts for navigation? For example, Facebook,
yeah,
at least on iOS, you have parts that you have a master detail with the hamburger menu,
yeah,
and you have tabs also.
yeah. So I'm also leaning towards what they say. Like, it's not that you can't do it, it's just be cautioned when you're doing it. Like, try and find a way that the tabs you have behind are like don't pop up as much, or like make it in a way that the user can doesn't get confused. I wouldn't recommend it because I really like to have my navigations kind of separate. If I'm using a master detail, I would just avoid using the tab page here. Uh, but yeah, it's totally up to you. But yeah, I prefer just having it separate. But yeah, the rules are made to break. So these are just guidelines. They're not rules set on stone. You can take and create your design however you like, but it will be good to follow most of the things. Just don't come to the documentation and be like, okay, they're telling me I can't mix it. Well, I'm a rule breaker, so I'm gonna mix it. No, don't try to be special. Like, just try different stuff and see what works for your users and see the response, and whatever works, that's good. But if you can see here, I really like how detailed like how granular they explain everything. Like, if you see this whole article is just about the navigation drawer and how you should like use the icons in the navigation drawer. What's the spacing you should have between the title and the icon in each of the items in the navigation drawer, so it looks really appealing, and it doesn't look like everything is cramped. um, so it talks to you about the anatomy of your component. It gives you a sample of some what is the standard that they always use. Different type of drawers you can make, like you can even, there's drawers that have like settings at the end, there's drawers that only have the options at the top. So this is a really good resource. But for those of you that are iOS lovers, don't worry, you also have your visual guidelines. It's called iOS human let me see, guideline. They have a really futuristic name to them. Yeah, iOS human interface guidelines. So let me send this one as well. Okay, so this is iOS guidelines, and let me put the material design one here as well. Material design. Yeah, so there you have the two visual guidelines with which you can start. There's also other new proposals coming out for visual design, like, where is it? The polymorphic design, I think it's what it's called, right, Angel? The one that Sharpando is doing now and people are really hyped by.
Yes.
Yeah, let's see. Sharpando, xamarin. Let's see.
It's nodomorphic, I think. It's kind of elevation
Yeah,
objects that seems like a real touchable objects in the application.
yeah, it's called neomorphic. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, when you're choosing your visual design, I would recommend just going through different UI proposals and dribble the different type of visual languages you have available, like material design, iOS, and now this new one that they have, like neomorphic design. This one for me looks really cool, but I still haven't used it. I need to try it out to see like what limitation could it present to the user. I know there was a discussion regarding this one that maybe it was not considering that much accessibility, because since it's making heavy use of shadows and like elevation and stuff. Remember, let's say colorblind people, maybe what people say in the in the discussion is that maybe because these two colors are literally the same and there's just a little like shadow here, so for colorblind people that will not be a good design. Why? Because they're not going to be able to differentiate what's the background and what's this card. So you should also take consideration when picking a visual design language, what is your target audience, and make sure that you're taking the measures to have your design accessible for everyone, right? So look at, for example, this other examples he has here. Um, you see how he puts the Nyan cat here, and he like all the components you can create and how the elevation reacts when you're doing it. So this is a really good plugin you can install of components made by one of our community members, and it's called Sharpnado. I would definitely recommend it. He has different visual design, visual languages here that you can implement. So he has literally like material design. He has neomorphic design. He has also this other one, which is called acrylic. I think this one is pretty sweet as well. And everything you see, this is how it looks. Everything looks like, yeah, acrylic. And so yeah, this is another type of visual language you could use. And look how cool it looks over here, like on this white theme. Like it has like this light shadow on the top, and it looks like everything is popping out. So yeah, just give it a try. Decide on a visual language you want for your redesign you're gonna do, and once you have it, just start experimenting and getting inspiration based on that visual language, right? So this is the iOS one. They don't have, I don't see, oh well, yeah, they have a few examples as well, but I went with material design, so that's the one we're going with, right? So after deciding on your visual language, you are basically on your way now, because now you know how to gather inspiration, right? You know also in which type of inspiration you want, which is okay, I'm gonna look for designs that implement good practices of material designs, and I can just try and imitate what they're doing, right? So after we have that, it's also important, well, I found out while doing this, that you start making like patterns, right? And I noticed this emerge, and it's basically all of us have magic numbers when we're creating our mobile apps and we're starting to work with design. And what are magic numbers? So let me show you here what I mean by magic numbers. Wait, that's not the blog. The blog is the one that says mobile redesign. Here. See, where's my graph of my magic numbers? Yep. So what are gonna be your magic numbers? So for me, my magic numbers are just numbers I use to give different sizes to elements I'm putting on my screen, and how I'm handling my spacing and sizes between elements, right? So, for example, here, right? Let's imagine we're creating this page. We went to Dribble, we found the list, and we got inspired, and we said, okay, we want to make a card, and we want to start adding stuff inside of it. So the first question for me that emerged was, okay, I want to create this card, right? But how much space should I give this image from the border of the card to the start of the image, and from the left border to the start of the image, and also from the top border to the top of the image, right? So it looks like aesthetic and it looks like clean. So I was like, okay, that's gonna be kind of hard because I'm not a designer, so I have no clue what is good spacing between them. Remember, you have this great resource here, that your design documentation basically. So I came here and I said, okay, oh, look, there's a section that is called components. Nice. So what are components? Let me see if I maybe find like a card, right? Oh, and I see that they have like the card section, and I come here in the card section and I find my holy grail basically. They walk you through all the considerations you should have while creating cards, and what are the different stuff you could put in cards, and how, like, propose positions for the text, the title, the subtitle. Maybe if you have an avatar here, and maybe a big image, like a banner for this card, and maybe action buttons. So this gave me a ton of ideas of stuff I could implement in my card. Here you can see like how they're making also more descriptive cards, like they even have details of this product, and they have the range of the price, the rating. So you can get a lot of good ideas from just looking at the material design guidelines. You can also see even animation ideas. So I went down because I wanted a card that was not that complex. I just wanted something pretty simple, right? So I wanted like something like this one, right? But only this bottom part, because I came here and I said, okay, what is this? We're dealing with repositories, and what is the data right now? What is the image Brandon is at the moment showing? He's showing the image that that repository has. So in case if it's a repository made by you, you're gonna see your profile image here. But if it's like a repository made by an organization, you're gonna see the organization image here as well. So I was like, okay, that's so that's how I decided how big the image is gonna be and if it's gonna take the whole card. Since I knew it was kind of an avatar, I was like, okay, I just want to put it small here in the left side, and then I would like to have this information here as well. But if you notice this one, I felt like the title was kind of too small, and the description was too like packed, and all the space was just extra here, right? So I wanted, as soon as you open the app, I wanted the user to have a good glance through their repos with no issue. So that's why I decided to put the title here in a good size compared to the description. And then I put the description here, and then I said, okay, what am I gonna do with this stats over here? So I went back to Dribble and started looking for lists that had like stats on them, right? And I also came to the material design one, and I said, okay, let's see how maybe some of them have stat. So the only stat I was seeing here was like the rating and stuff. And I was like, okay, but I want something that is not quite that, right? So I went to Dribble, and we have a ton of examples there. And let me see. Well, I can show you here what was my first proposal. So here, okay. So here, once I started looking at different proposals, I found two designs that had stats that like attracted me, right? And one of them, they had their stats like tags, right? You know, there's some websites that they have like stats and they put this little tag here. So that was the initial. This was the one I was in love with initially, right? I was like, yeah, we're gonna have tabs. It's gonna look so cool and stuff. Uh, so after I put the tabs, I was like, yeah, it actually looks good. Like my first attempt at it, I was like, yeah, this is perfect. So once I showed it to Brandon and I got some feedback from my friends, I eventually found out by trial and error that this was actually not gonna work for me, because 3 stats is okay, but as soon as I add 4, this looks really crowded. So it starts giving the feeling of this. You start getting confused again, and you can't distinguish between the stats and the information of the repo, right? So I was like, okay, let's try something else then. And since I always communicated with Brandon through Twitter, and I was always using Twitter, I was like, wait, I have it right in front of my face. Twitter uses its stats in this format. If we go to Twitter, well, now it's kind of changed, but before it used to be like more similar to what I have there. But if you see, Twitter also have cards, right? And their stats are literally just an icon and really minimalistic number here. Like it's really small. You don't really notice it, right? Unless you're looking for the stat. So we wanted something like that as well, because we wanted to have at least four to five different stats here. And the other one was just too big to accept that, because so I said, okay, maybe we could just make them smaller, right? That's the first thing you would think. But when we try to make it a little bit smaller than this, and if you imagine looking at your phone, it got too small. So you couldn't really distinguish them, and the shape will look like kind of weird. So we were like, okay, yeah, this is the one we really like. And this didn't have this line here. And if you see this proposal, right, you still get the feeling like this information is mixed with these tabs, right? And we wanted a clear separation to make it as easy as possible for the user to distinguish between them. So we came up with this line here. We did not see in any documentation like, yeah, you should put a line on top of your stats. This is just trial and error. We were like, okay. I went to this cards, and I know one of them has like a line to separate information, and I was like, yeah, let's try that. And it worked out. And this is now the end product of how the repository screen now looks. So we came all the way from this. We created a card. We updated the stats to be more minimalistic and smaller over here. And basically, if you notice the design, and this one, we were like, okay, let's keep the icons the same color and just put the background of the icon in its unique color, right? So here we try to do like the inverse, basically. So here we said, okay, let's get rid of the background, because that makes it look like it's bigger than it is and it clutters the view. Let's just put the color to the icon and keep all the stats text black. And that's how you got this end design here. And then eventually we noticed, okay, what is the whole point of me using this app, right? The name says it. I want to see the trends. I want to know which of all my repos is the one that's trending. So we wanted to have a way for you to identify easily, okay, which one is the one that people are really interested in. So we said, okay, we could maybe put then like a trending tag here, right? Let me see if I have. Yeah, I have the different proposals here. So I started making the tags, and initially they were like this small, and then we were like, no, that's too small. We need something a little bit bigger, but not too big, because once we put it here, this also started to look cluttered. And if you see, only with 3, this looks kind of dangerous already, right? Because it's about to get to the same situation we were having here. Once I added 4, everything kind of mixed up. So that's also something you have to consider while you're experimenting and playing around with your design. Is basically, okay, I want to maintain my stats here. I want them with this layout. I also want the user to know that something is trending. But you need to know how to make trade-off. So stats are important for me, but putting 5 stats here and having to take away the ability for the user to know something is trending in this way, because we really like this tag, having to sacrifice it for us was not worth it. So what we did was we said, okay, we're developing this up, so we can maybe add a sort here and allow the users to sort by different parameters, right? And depending on the sort they pick, we are always going to use 3 stats, but depending on the sort, on the property they pick, right, on the stat they pick, we're going to switch up the stats. So there's always like one that is kind of common. So one is, oh, I think it's the stars, I believe. So the stars is always there, I think. And then you can like see like views, unique views, clones, unique clones, uh, forks, and yeah, this will change dynamically, and we only keep 3, and that way we keep our design simple and not cluttered. So you also need to know like when to put a max. Okay, we have a question over here from Ricardo. He says, how long did it take you to get to the last approach of the list page? So we did this first initial proposal, right? The initial proposal only had this 4 screens, which was this one, and the repository page. I would say, if I remember correctly, it took me around 2 to 3 weeks because I was not working on it full time. Remember, this was all done on my free time, so I was dedicating like 1 or 2 hours a day on this, and it took me like 2 to 3 weeks to complete all of the pages. For the list specifically, I would say around 2 to 3 days or 4, because it's only 2 hours a day, so like 8 hours of work. But remember, the key to get to keep on polishing your design is something that I have also in my agenda after the magic numbers, which is workflow and feedback loop. So before I continue showing you how all the redesigns happen and how it was it was done, let me first finish talking about all of the 3 topics in the agenda. Remember, this is gonna be 5 weeks. I want to show you and guide you how to do everything step by step. And this is the only day that we're gonna be going. We're gonna have a lot of theory, which is what I'm trying to do right now. But the next days, I promise you, we're gonna be in Adobe XD, playing around. And I also want you guys to install Adobe XD, download the project, because what we're gonna be doing, because we can't have a live stream and a few series, right, without an objective and something you can play along with, right? So what we're gonna be doing once this this first session is done, you're gonna have the tools necessary to start playing around in Adobe XD, right? And GitTrends right now is in version 1.0, which was the one that got released once we completed all the proposals and implemented them in the app. So now we want to release version 2.0, and there's a few features that the community members have proposed throughout this last 2 months while using the app. And the 3 features we're going to be working on are going to be creating an about page. And in this about page, basically we're going to put all of the contributors that have given of their time to the project, by doing translations, by creating like a banner like this. There's a cool community member called Khalid that he was playing around with stop motion and he created this logo. There's people that have been working nonstop also on bug fixing, and yeah, a lot of cool people. And here you have them. So we want to create an about page. Brandon and I said, yeah, it will be good to say thank you to them in a way, and have them present there, because this is an open source project. Even though it's in Brandon's account in the store, the whole point of this app is just to have it by the community for the community. So that's why it's free as well. Then we also want to add the feature of, if I have a repository, right? Right now I have this list of all my repositories. But let's say there's 2 or 3 that I want to put as favorite and I always want to see on top of my list. because those are the ones I use the most, right? So a user requested that, and we think it's a good idea as well. So we're gonna implement favorites. So we have to find in this five. Sorry, let me drink some water. Remember, guys, stay hydrated. So if you're watching right now, take at least 1 minute to drink water. Let's have a 1 minute break.
That's a nice advice. So you know what, Pujols? I'm gonna steal that feature of the about page for the other community project that
Mm.
we're working on, Cabañas RD Community Edition,
Oh yeah,
for yeah, for showcasing the people that is working on,
yeah.
because
That
I
will
think
be.
it's great that you show to your friends, hey, look at me, I'm here in in this app I'm working on.
Yeah, that I totally agree. Like is I believe you can be as grateful as you as personally with the person, but it's also good. Like I feel good when I get to put some of my friends in my readme or in my blog, and just leave them there because I see everything we do for the community as legacy we're leaving and history we're just leaving in the internet. And eventually, when someone comes in 5, 10, 6 years and sees it, they can just have a great memory of, damn, I was participating in this. Look at all the people that at that time were there. So yeah, I
That was
definitely love that. Yeah,
that was deep. What's
yeah,
on
yeah.
your water? That what's on your water, man?
I, I'm I'm really sentimental today. No, 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 but it's true, it's true. So favorites. So for favorites, user told us that what I just told you. We wanted to have a few favorites repositories that always appear on the top, and we you could say, oh, but that could be then like my if you go to your profile, you know that you can like pin repositories to the top, and then you go to repositories list and you can see like all of them. So we were like, okay, we can implement something like this, and basically just is if it's favorite, show it at the top. So in this 5 weeks, we have to come up with proposals for creating that about page, finding a way of how we can make one of these favorite. Like maybe we could add like a border with some color or something, or maybe we could add an icon here. I don't know. We're gonna figure it out in this 5 weeks. So you guys also, it will be nice. Um, Everything in GitTrends we're handling with issues. So I'm gonna have you guys create a few proposals as well, and you can comment here with ideas you are working on, and eventually we can just pick one and implement that for the version 2.0. And the last thing we're gonna be working on is a feature we are really excited for. It's called star tracking, and there's a cool website that actually does this already. Let me show you what that feature is. Star tracker. So this user's, I'm not gonna attempt to say that username, but yeah, this user proposed this feature, and this site actually has this. It's like a repository star tracker. So here you can see in your repository. Okay, give me a second. Uh, oh, okay. I need to put the user and slash the repository. So let's put this. So here you can put your repo, right? And this actually like creates a chart of how the stars in the repo varied throughout the time, like how it was changing. And we basically want to do the same thing in GitTrends, because this is really cool. Because the whole point of the app is just looking how it's changing throughout the time, right? So this is a really key feature. I think it will actually excite people in version 2.0. So the idea behind it, I have some notes here from the meeting I had with Brandon. Start tracking. Yeah, so the idea right now of our head was like, okay, maybe we can come to the trends page, add a segmented control here, like a segmented control. Make one side say trends. Okay, that's pretty big. Let's put this smaller. Let's put it 42. So you're gonna have like trends, and then you're gonna have stars or something. Yeah, like stars. Uh, and I want to do this on the fly like this, so you can see how easy it is to just create. Okay, to just create like a component in Adobe XD. So you're literally just creating circles and squares and putting stuff one on top of each other. So right now what I'm trying to do is create like a segmented controller. We can come here and round the corners. You see, when I press the rectangle, you have all these little circles here, and you're gonna have 4 circles, one in each corner of the rectangle, and that's gonna allow you, if you drag it in and out, to round that corner. Right now it's doing it for all the corners together, but you can also do it individually. Here on the left side here, you can select you can select the second option, and you can actually set fixed sizes to them, so you don't need to also be like just drag and dropping it. You can say like, okay, I want a rounded corner of 4 4 4, and that's how a rounded corner of 4 and not rectangle looks. And then you can like come here, and if you see, like when I move things around, I have a bunch of helpers to like align stuff, and a lot of, and like they snap together, so it's really easy to create components and designs here in Adobe XD because it helps you. So let's put it here. You see, I was moving the rectangle because I wanted to like center it in respect to like the text. I wanted the text to be centered, and he already knows like I want to do something like that, so he shows me the guide and he tells me, hey, stop going up, it's already centered. So if we zoom out, it's kind of big. Let me put it a little bit smaller. Since this is vectors, I can just select them and resize them to, okay, let me group them. So yeah, after you have this, you can make like a little group to move all of the together, right? And now I have a little component here. So the first idea out of our head was to just like put this over here on top of the cards, and this is gonna obviously go a little bit down. The chart might resize a little bit to make it a little bit smaller, and then the user can literally like tap between them and change the graph and the stats that you were showing. So when they press start, we will show like the graph full length, and just do the star tracking like this. We already verified that we have the info available, and we just need to do the proposal for that. So yeah, cool features we're gonna be developing in this proposals we're gonna be doing in this 5 weeks. So yeah, let me finish with this last 3 points. We have 5 minutes left. That's enough for me to go over this. So you understand the last key points we need to make this a success, right? So magic numbers, remember I said, when you start doing components and stuff, you start saying, okay, how big should the text be? Well, I always put text initially at 16, size 16, size 12. So once you do that continuously, you start creating like a pattern in your head of numbers you use to do stuff. So here are my magic numbers. You can use them, but it's not like they're written in stone. I discovered them by experimenting. And also the material design guidelines, they use some of these values. They they basically increment everything by 4, 8, and 16. So I took that from them as well. So the minimum size I put for spacings between elements is 4. Then I increment by 4s, right? So 4, 8, then 16, then 24, 32, 48, 52. And this spacings I use depending what I want to do. So here I have an example, and also an example for the spacing, and also for what I use for my text. So if I want to make text that is related to each other, the most I'm gonna give as like margin between this text and this text is 8 dps. Why? Because I noticed that after I go beyond 8 and I give like 16, it looks like two different texts, so two different titles. Here, what I want to simulate is like a title and a subtitle. So this numbers here I found that were good for giving the user that sense of that this is a title, this is a subtitle. And also in the guidelines here in the material design, you can also see that they use similar numbers to this. They don't go past 8 if they're gonna be related. So for components, so for spacing inside the components, I start minimum from the border of the component to the first element inside of it. So a component could be like this little card I was doing here. So remember the question I was doing, what is the space I'm gonna put between this text or this image I'm gonna have here and my border so it looks balanced and neat, right? That's why I have my magic numbers. I say, okay, I know that if I put it to less than 8 from the border, it doesn't look right. And what I do now is I default to 16. 16, and depending on the size of the component, it could be 8 or 12. But my default is always 16. So if you see here, this is a cool feature XD has. You can click on the element, hold down your Alt key in the keyboard, and move your mouse to a component, and it's gonna tell you the distance between this one to the component you are hovering. And
Oh,
yeah,
that's a nice feature.
yeah.
I used to use boxes to
Yeah, I used to use boxes as well before. Like when I started, remember. So you can see the project when you download it as like a timeline of how I was learning each thing. That's another cool, interesting thing about this project. So initially I knew nothing. And then I was like, okay, I want to put space in between elements, but I had no idea I could like do it easy with this thing. So I started doing little boxes, as you're saying. So this box is to put like 12 spacing between an element over here and an element over here. And let's say I wanted to put like, let me see, this one is, yeah, this one is 4. So I started doing a bunch of boxes like that. And that's how I was positioning stuff. And then I learned I could do that. And then you see like I stopped using the boxes. But they're still good. It's still a good idea to use the boxes. In case you want to like do this list here and you want to, so this component I know it's always gonna go in this card under that line, right? And I want always that 4 spacing from the top and this amount of spacing from this border in the bottom, right? But I don't want to keep moving it around when I'm placing it in different cards. So what I did was I created the boxes around it for the spacing, and I put the component in the like in this border and this border, and I group everything together, and that way I can move the whole thing. And as soon as I see this lines up with this other thing, doesn't have to be perfect because yeah, it's not, My box is not like a round size, so that's why there's a little bit of difference there, but it's okay.
Oh, that's a nice
Yeah,
trick.
and
Uh,
uh-huh.
we have in Adobe XD, do we have the layout grids as we
Yep,
have in Photoshop, for example?
yep, yep, and yeah, that's what I'm using here. So that's another powerful feature of Adobe XD. We're gonna see this more in detail in the next session, but if you see here, Adobe XD actually generates, like, you imagine when you're developing the collection view in Xamarin, right? You don't need to create all of the item templates like one by one. You just create one, and then it gets new data and replicates this template, right? So Adobe XD can do the same. I created the first one here, and then I come here and I drag this, and it starts replicating more and more, and I can just then go to each of them and change their information. So that's why I did this, so I could like go to each of them and add a trending tag wherever I wanted. So yeah, that's a cool little trick you can also do. We have 4 minutes. Oh god. Okay, so that's magic numbers. You can go to the blog and see more numbers I use to position stuff around. A number I always use for like the spacing of the page all around. I always try to do 16 all around. So I put all my content in the page has a margin from the content page of 16 all around. And I always have found that my content looks like really balanced and well displayed, giving that breathing space here. So I just default to that. But in some cases, maybe here you see, here you can break the rule because we want it to be the chart, like to give the feeling like the chart continued over here, and it's just like rolling to the left side. So for the chart, we actually ignore the spacing here and just put it to the edge of the screen. And we do put the 16 here, but here we don't. And that way you can also create different type of feelings for the user. So that's magic numbers. And what else is important when you're doing this? You need tools. What tools are we gonna be using in this series? And I'll have to leave this for the beginning of next session. We're gonna start with this, so don't worry. Here's a little bit spoilers, so you get excited, but we're not gonna go into detail on that right now. So what tools can we use? Where's the blog? Blog. So the tools I need you guys to install, if you don't have them already, are gonna be Adobe XD, and you can install Sketch. Sketch is paid, but they have a trial of how many days? I think it's like 14 to 30 days. No, I think it's a month. So it's gonna be good for us for our example. And also, you can uninstall and install it again, and the trial restarts. But don't tell anyone I told you that. So, so you don't need to pay it, okay? Because we're just playing around with it. So you can also install Sketch, so we can mess around with the logo. And the logo, the sketch project for the logo is also in the repository on the link I gave you guys. So with those two tools, we're gonna be able to create our design. And lastly, how are we gonna stay accountable and how are we gonna move forward with our proposals? So this is super important. You need to create a workflow and a feedback loop. So you can, well, you know what, Angel? Could you give me 10 more minutes because we had technical difficulties for like 50 minutes?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm here chilling.
Yeah, so we're gonna take 10 more minutes because of technical difficulties. Let me know in the chat, guys, if you're up to it. If not, I can just end it in, yeah, I can just end it here and we can continue seeing this in the next session. But yeah, I think 10 minutes will be nice. So I can talk to you about this. So let's see, what does the chat say? What do you
Nothing
think?
yet.
Well, I'll take it. I'll take that as no one has a problem with it because it's for my benefit, right? So, okay, let's continue. So, one of the most important things that worked for me doing this. Okay, I get. Let's go here in the chat. Great. One of the most important things you have to have when you're doing a project like this, it's open source, it's totally a passion project you're doing, is find a way to continue doing at least 10 to 20 minutes of work on this each day. Like, try and keep yourself motivated, right? So for that, I found that my workflow will normally be, since this is an open project, we can use the tools of GitHub to stay on track, right? So what we do is we create an issue on the project with what we want to deal with, and let me show you the issue I created in that time for the UI. So see, April 2028 was when, no, this was when it was closed. So that's when we resolved it. So March 19 was when I started working on this. And I basically just created an issue. I said, okay, I want to do an app UI UX redesign. I There were other issues related to UI UX that users had created, and some of them were like improve the color palette, light and dark themes, and that one was created by Brandon. So since my idea was to create a whole like redesign for the whole thing, I just took all of the UI related issues and put them in my issue as part of what I was going to be working on, right? So rebranding of the app with a color palette. We also wanted to change the colors of the app and get a better color palette, something more friendly, something more attractive to our users. And let's see what else. UI UX enhancements in the following areas. So this is another existing issue that there was, and then these three I was suggesting, right? I wanted to work on. So this other issue was improve first run experience. So remember I told you the first time you logged into to GitTrends, you will get taken directly to the settings page. So this is this is what it will look like. You will open the app and you will be taken to the settings immediately, and you will see this ugly error here that will be like, hey, the user is not found, so please sign into your GitHub page. And you're like, yeah, but wait, I just opened your app. Why are you talking to me about finding a user? Like, what are you doing? So the user got kind of misled on what was happening, and maybe this could have been a reason for someone to uninstall the app, right? So we wanted to improve this as well. And that's basically what I did. I created an issue, put everything here, what I was looking forward to working on. I then decided to, after I created the issue, I knew that if I just created the issue and I did not have someone keeping me accountable, I might abandon it as well. So after creating issues and working with PRs, another good thing, and the good thing about this as well, is that you can keep track of all the work you're doing and basically merge everything individually and comment and have discussions with the community and those issues. But something I noticed you also need is a friend you can talk to. So a friend that is basically just there to look at your whatever you try to do, um, like any new proposal you do, and just send it to them, because you know everybody has this friend that has always like a little bit of design, or maybe the friend you're gonna identify as someone that is really related to the project you're working on. So in my case, my my main friend I would always contact and bother, like literally we will have our DMs in Twitter like always active. uh, like even in the morning, in the night, because we were just brainstorming a ton of ideas. So I picked Brandon for that because he also wanted to be involved in the process of creating the proposals, and I wanted to make something that he also liked because he was the initial creator of the project, right? So you have to also keep it simple, keep the communication simple. We kept it we kept it really simple. Our communications were always Twitter DMs, and when we wanted to do like a working session, we will just do a video conference call through Teams, and there we will do like 1 or 2 hours of talking, like brainstorming and organizing ideas. But before, if we're not on Teams, we're basically just sending a ton of screenshots and like drawing stuff on tissues and sending it to each other and just brainstorming, right? So you should have someone that you can just contact at any hour and they're not gonna get pissed at you. So yeah, identify that person and just be honest with them. Hey, I'm working on this. I want your honest opinion. It doesn't matter if you don't know a lot of the design. Just tell me what you feel when you see the design, right? And after that, I noticed that it was good having that friend, but it was you also need another key component, and it's you need a lot of feedback on what you're doing, right? Because maybe for me and Brandon, what the design we did was perfect, right? And for us, it made sense. But you should also have like at least 3 other friends, buddies. You can also do the same, like not as intense as you're with that main person, like talking back and forth every time. These 3 buddies you're gonna have just for your almost finished proposal, right? So once let's say for example, this one, when I was doing it, and I was like, when I had only these 3 components in the card, I would send that to Brandon. If I would change the color, I would send a screenshot. So Brandon will have like 100 screenshots of this same page, right? But once I had something that both of us said, yeah, this looks kind of decent, we would send it to 3 different other people and get their opinion because this is almost done, right? And tell us how they feel. And something that worked really well for me, make sure those they have different backgrounds. So in my case, I picked 4 friends. You don't need to limit it to 3. The minimum I say is 3. So I have 4, and one of them is called Frankie Arvelo. He's an industrial designer, and I met him way back when I was in my university, and he's really good at design. He works as an industrial designer at the moment. So Frankie was like my expert, right? So I identified someone that was kind of an expert in design, and then I had Joseph, which is a software engineer. He was also a good friend of mine. He's also a good friend of mine. He works with software development, but he's also really into UI UX. He hasn't studied it formally, but he has always been playing around with it since 5 or 6 years ago. So he has a good understanding on stuff, and he has researched it, right? I also had this other friend, which was called Vanessa Suarez. She's actually a doctor, and but she loves messing around with illustrations and drawing on her computer and just making drawings on paper. So I was like, yeah, let me just text Vanessa and send her my proposal and see what she thinks about it, right? And the last friend I had set up for that was called Luis Alberto. He's actually a publicist, so he's kind of an expert like Frankie. He has been working with graphic design since a long time, but he's now focused on producing and DJing. So as you can see, all of them have different backgrounds, and all of them have different levels of experience in designing. So that really helped because I will send my design and I will be totally honest. Listen, I'm a developer. I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm playing around with this. I'm playing around with something you love, and just give me your opinion and tell me what could I improve. And I got a ton of great feedback from them, and that's how eventually decided, yeah, and me and Brandon said, okay, yeah, this is not gonna work. Let's change it, and that's how we came to this polished one. So this is actually a work from not only me, but a group of people just giving honest feedback on it. And they don't need to be expert; they just need to be open to see your design. So after you have that, you have your feedback loop, you have your group of friends. Uh, Also keep this communication simple. What I did with them, WhatsApp, I will just send them the screenshot as well. They will respond to me whenever they could, but I was just like, hey, I just put in another proposal, here it is, give me your input, and I'll see it when you eventually answer, right? So keep it super simple. Send voice messages between each other, and yeah, that's basically it. So once we have that, we are good to go to start redesigning our mobile apps. And you can literally go just with those few uh, steps I gave you in tools. You can go from this, knowing absolutely nothing as a developer on designing, to having a design. Let me go here. Let me give you some more spoilers. Where's Behance? Here. To go and have a design that looks like it was a designer that made it. Here you can see a glance of all the screens, the end result of all the screens. And I created also this project and uploaded it to Behance, and look at all the designers that like it. They don't even know we're not designers, we're just developers, but they
Man,
really
you
like it.
cheating. You cheating.
Look how nice it looks and everything. So this is what I want you guys to be able to do after the 5 weeks with this series. Like, just have an idea and organize it in a way that, yeah, you can use it for your personal project apps, and also your company. Just, you are doing a mock-up or something, you have something that is near production ready.
You know what? A tip or a feature that I use in Adobe XD to get reviews and share my proposals.
Oh
You
yeah.
know that you have the prototype and the share option
Yep.
in your design, so you
Yeah.
can share a link, and that link generates a interface that
Yep.
the final users or anonymous users can write you reviews
Yeah.
on
Let's
what they
put that
think
link
about your design.
in the chat. Let's see. Design review. Anyone with the link,
Exactly.
create link, and we'll post it in the chat, and you guys will be able to see what Angel is saying. This is a really cool feature Adobe XD has as well, and they also have the prototype one, so you can actually, after you have the designs done, you can create the flow of the app, and you literally have a functioning like prototype, and the client thinks it looks like a functioning app. So you can literally avoid just the whole development process. You can create your prototype in the same Adobe XD project.
Yes, even
Uh,
and even UX things like
where's Twitch?
scrolling vertically and I don't know, making zoom. You can do almost anything.
Bitly. I have to shorten the link because it's too long, but give me a second. I'm putting it in Bitly. But yeah, this is really cool because you can review it. You can put comments on different stuff you have on the project. It's really nice. Copy, stream, design review of GitTrends C project. So try and go to that link and let me know, guys, if you can see it. And you should see, like, yeah, all the main screens of the app there.
Yes, sir.
Yep, and if you click, I think, yeah, and if you click the components, I already did the prototype for this one. So that's another good way of promoting it, like in the community and getting feedback. You can create the prototype, and here Adobe XD allows you to run it right away. So see, you
Yeah.
have like your little device here, and everything is connected with actions. So if I click them, I can go through them and connect to GitHub, click a card, takes me to the other page. See, connected the back buttons. So it's a really powerful tool, and I really want you guys to be able to, at the end of the 5 weeks, do all of this. And yeah, that's the whole purpose of this stream. Well, our time is. I'm very excited to know how you did the first pages, like the four first steps images. Yeah, we are also gonna see that. So let's see the agenda of what we're gonna be doing next. So the first, for each week, I'll be doing a blog. This was the first blog I did like a month ago, but next week we're gonna be seeing how can we work with colors and typography, but we're also gonna see a bit more the end the end designs, and then we're gonna go into color and typography. And then the third week we're gonna be talking about iconography and magic numbers. So in this week we're already gonna start developing the new features and start like mocking up stuff and putting them around. Then we're gonna talk about elevation and how we can generate dark themes. And then last, we're gonna be talking about, okay, let's propose new features for the app, new UX improvements, and that includes looking at this new this this three new things that were not existing in the app, which was the welcome page to improve the experience of going directly to the settings. Now we have a landing page here, creating an onboarding so the user can learn how to do the most important features we have in the app, and then also adding empty states. So when you don't have any data, it's not good to just show a blank screen because the user might think something is not working. So we just show a nice message here and a good infographic here, so the user knows everything is fine. So we are also gonna see this on the last day. And yeah, by the end of the 5 weeks, we should have our proposals for the new three features and learn about all of that. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity and for you guys coming and staying here in the stream. If you have any questions, we can take, let's see, it's 17. We can take just 3 minutes to answer questions. And yeah, let me know what was your opinion on the stream. Anything you want to see next week. Maybe if you want to see me like maybe create a UI besides just talking about the topics. We're eventually gonna do it, but I would like to know what's your opinion on it.
Yeah, and also if you guys think that it's okay to, well, it's okay to continue in English because we have to finish this series of streamings in English.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to have a second
Mm-hmm.
series in Spanish, just let us know in the
Yeah,
chat.
definitely.
But
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's okay. I think it's okay.
Yeah, let us know how comfortable you are on having us just in this English format, because I remember we want to expand our community and get the international Xamarin community to know you guys as well. So I want you guys also to get comfortable with presenting in English. So when you come, we can also invite from different communities like the Toronto community. We can have people from the United States. I see we had a few new follows in the stream, and yeah, a lot of them are international, and they're really excited to learn more about our community and the stuff we're doing. So yeah, we can eventually have sessions in English and session in Spanish. So this is the first attempt at it, and let us know how you like what you think of it. Angel, we forgot to say thank you to all of the followers we had today. So let me go to the list. I see here the first follow of our stream was the user Faisa Khan. Thank you for following us and for sticking around in our stream. We really appreciate it. Uh, We also had Seno CCG, Andre 14944, JPass 320, and Valdi Deck. Yeah, thank you guys for hopping on and spending this time with us. And hope to see you next week. And next week, if you have any questions, it's 8:20. Well, if you have any questions, write them down, and when we come next Friday, I'll make sure to answer them. Okay. So Angel, if you have anything else to add.
Now I think we're done for today. So see you guys in the next session. I hope you have a chill weekend and you come up with some new followers to the next session and spread the word on Twitter that we are now, open to English
Yeah,
talks.
yeah,
So everyone could understand.
yeah. Anyone from the international community that's viewing us today, if you're interested in sharing any topic, we're inviting you as well to just come and share with us, because our community loves learning about new stuff. You see, it's Friday. We have everybody here. We published this yesterday. We have average 50 viewers from the start to the end. So yeah, we will love to have you and just learn about your culture and any new topic you have. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and see you next Friday.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.